I woke up this morning frustrated. Why am I doing this? Why do I stay in these trenches after yesterday with the same kind of theme from physicians? And it's one of these situations where you either jump on the train or you are gone. Your profession is gone.
What do you think about the Republicans? They're going to extend the subsidies. They're just going to cave.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think, on both sides of this, healthcare is just so bastardized. And I think they're behind the eight ball on it and they can't wrap their hands around it. Uh, and it looks like they're going to let the same people talk to them about the same things and just try to kick the can down the road. I don't think the consumer is going to be happy with that. I think the patient is kind of done with this game. I think they see through it. And, I don't think that's smart for them. But, they may have already conceded the midterms at this point. I don't know.
Do you think healthcare is the biggest deal at midterms?
Absolutely. It is the number one deal right now. We're knocking on the door of 20% GDP, 5.6 trillion this year. It touches everything that we do in this country. And it is the biggest thing.
Are premiums one of the largest financial problems we have?
I mean, it's just behind taxes. So ask a W-2 employee today in the United States, and I think people are just disconnected from this. If I'm going to pay in some states, 53% of my check goes to local, state, and federal taxes. And on top of that, you want me to pay 33% starting January 1 in premiums for a product I don't use? That's insane. And the consumer is saying, you know what? I think I've had enough. I think I've
I
had
think I've had
enough.
enough.
And what and I think you understand this, and I love physicians. There's nothing but I'm tired of playing these games. I've never seen a profession just step on their dick like physicians. They had a generational opportunity in the past 6 months. We told them, you were telling them, I was telling them. I don't know how many times I went to DC and on their behalf, I mean, I don't make any money on this. I lose money. But it is all about the.
You had the biggest opportunity of a lifetime in the last 6 months.
I'm just saying that's where we are. And I woke up this morning frustrated. Why am I doing this? Why do I stay in these trenches after yesterday with the same kind of theme from physicians? And it's one of these situations where you either jump on the train or you are gone. Your profession is gone. And then it's math. It's basic math. It's 1.1 million physicians left. 68% of them are employed by health systems. 12% of them are employed by Optum. 6% are employed by private equity. That leaves about 220,000 physicians left. 53% of those are private, are PCPs in the five HRSA-defined PCP categories. That's it. That's all we got.
That's it, man.
So whenever we're talking about, and look, I'm an AI advocate. I sometimes, hammer on it just because I'm in that world every single day and have pitched it since 2017, a telehealth advocate. But, I was of this idea that we use it from highest to best use and the physicians sit at a capstone. But we're at a place now where the boomers they're now in the death cycle that started this year, will end in 2036. There's not going to be anyone to take care of the boomers. AI and robots are coming. Physicians had an opportunity and they're not even going to the plate to bat. They're just sitting the bats down. They're looking at the bats. And it's maddening. It is maddening. And you and I come from the same place of the only way I can help a patient, I'm not a physician. The only way I can help a patient is to help physicians. So I get shanked by physicians during the day, and then I jump on X at night. I try to post only in the morning, so I'm not in that madness all day long. I get back, and I'm getting shanked by patients at night. And I'm like, damn, I don't know. I mean, what else do I do here? And it's maddening.
It is. Okay, so tell me a little bit about how you got started. You just finished working on a physician-owned hospital in Louisiana. So let's highlight that. What really made your kind of passion kind of burn for that?
I got started in healthcare because I didn't make it into medical school. And I had a problem with authority when I was in college. I got into an
Shocker.
argument with, yeah, with two medical school deans, one who became a client. And I was 20 and went to work for a rural hospital. And uh, I ended up, the CEO hired me as director of clinics. I was tasked to open 5 rural health clinics and in the Delta of Louisiana.
Mm.
And that is the trenches, man. That is the trenches. We were featured in Progressive Farmer, and that was a highlight of my life at the time. I was like, man, where do you go? I mean, you're doing rural health. And my CEO was on the AHA board, and so was on all these AHA events and these rural events nationally, and it was great. And but the president of the Louisiana Hospital Association came up one day, 5 years after, and I'd kind of worked my way up at the hospital, and I had just fired my boss, and the CEO went to her house and fired her on behalf of the board. It was terrible, and I was 25. I had still didn't know my ass from hole in the ground, and he said, "Look, if you don't leave the rural hospitals, you're going to be pigeonholed a rural guy. It's time to it's time to go to a community hospital." And in the hospital world, you have this ladder. You go from rurals to communities to maybe an academic medical center to health systems. That's kind of the traditional path. And so I ended up thinking, all these people I met at the hospital associations around the country and doing all this, I was going to be a consultant. I was doing a lot of legislative work, and the governor's secretary for health was opening his own little shop, and we were doing this thing at Tulane, and I was like, yeah, I'll be a consultant. I'll have all these clients. And I left with one, and it was a whole lot of ramen for 2 years. But it's been great. So I got to do academic medical centers, got to do a lot of behavioral health hospitals, and it's been great. So doing a children's hospital one day, and then an academic medical center the next, and it gave me this wide breadth of understanding. And still got to do some policy work and some other avant-garde stuff that I liked. And then I was sitting in a hotel room at the beginning of COVID, and I got a call from a law firm and said, "Look, we have a physician-owned hospital that is in a crisis, and the state is trying to close them." And I was like, "What? Why would the state try to close a hospital?" On the news, I was literally watching, we got to have more beds. And I have this problem of, wanting to help the underdog. It is pathological. I'm still in therapy for it, and I'm attracted to it like
You're
a
in
damn
therapy.
magnet. And
Yeah, yeah. You're
so
like,
that was
I'll be the savior. I'll be
that's
the savior.
that's right.
That's
I
right.
have a complex. Take me.
Yeah, and I get
And
it.
And so I went to this hospital and then fell into this physician-owned rabbit hole, and saw it was just a travesty what was happening. And it started with this hospital with 222, and started helping this law firm, and realizing physicians didn't know what the hell was going on, and it was not, these weren't sophisticated operations. And I would look at the margin and say, my God, why is somebody not in this? And so I've been doing that. And then when I started helping physician-owned hospitals kind of on larger scale, every health system client that I had went away. And that was, you don't make money, as you know, doing physician owned work. My money came from health systems and large multinational corporations. And that went away when I started working with physicians.
How many physician-owned hospitals are there? I keep getting. I think there's just over 200. Do
Yeah.
you have a better number? Because
Two,
I don't
200,
know.
238. There's 238 physician owned
Yeah,
hospitals in the nation, 1,093 hospitals, period, across the
hospitals.
nation. Of that, just hospitals, and there are about 18 rurals, and that includes critical access hospitals. So out of that 1,000, about a third of those are rurals, and then nothing is physician-owned hospitals.
Right.
This canard for a long time was they were cherry picking. Well, 93% of rural hospitals right now today, if they went 100% commercial, would close. They
Would
don't make
close.
money on commercial.
That's right.
They make money on Medicaid. They make money on a government arbitrage.
That's right.
It's not at all commercial insurance. The canard is not even true. And that, I think that's where I get the red ass is, if you're going to come up with some of these games and some of this bullshit, at least be factual. I
At
mean,
least be
let's
factual.
let's start
Do
with
you do
some
you feel like
facts.
you're fighting an uphill battle? Because sometimes I just
Yes.
go, it's hand-to-hand combat. I can't correct everybody.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah,
Why do you think the federal government appears to not like physician-owned anything? What is it about that? Since it's such a small market, I mean, you pointed it out. We got 6,000 plus hospital systems. They own all the academic systems. Like, what do they care about some rinky-dink hospitals for?
it is
What
weird.
is it?
It's weird. It is, and I do think it all comes back down to control, to power, influence, and wealth. And the AHA has been extraordinarily successful. And Whenever you meet their lobbyists, though, they're the most unimpressive goobers you'll ever meet in your life. And they continue the same trope. They're not even accurate. They just know it's a winner. And so you stay on the winning topic. And so, what other industry would you prohibit the producer from owning something? Would you produce a chef? Can you restaurant? Yeah, that's right. There's not one in the nation. Imagine going to a restaurant or a snowball stand and saying, oh, well, the snowball owner cannot be the snowball producer. And think in some crazy Alice in Wonderland world that drives cost down. No,
Okay,
it drives costs up.
up.
And think about provider taxes. In Louisiana, the reason we are the healthcare state, we created DISH, Edwin Edwards, Chris Pilley,
I did
Bob
not know that.
Rayford. We created
Did you
it.
really?
We created the provider tax model right here. I mean, I learned at the hooves of the genius,
Yep.
Chris Pilley and Edwin Edwards. That's where I get some of this, understand, the institutional knowledge behind it. And what happens with physician-owned entities and why there's not an uprising, I don't know, but they are paying a tax that they get nothing on behalf of. They get, if I'm paying a bed tax in Louisiana and I'm a physician-owned hospital, I don't get to participate in DISH. I don't get to participate
No, you do
in
not.
FMP, full Medicaid pricing. I don't get to,
Yeah.
I don't get a UPL. I get nothing if I'm paying a provider tax. And
No, that's right.
that's virtually, and I can't say every because I don't know every single state, but I know for a fact that 38 states have the same exact mechanism that we have in Louisiana, and physician-owned enterprises get zero back. Zero.
Well, two of our hospitals that you and I help are in Kansas, and their provider tax went up to 6%. So they got a double whammy this year by the governor and the people that run the state of Kansas.
That's exactly right. And look, I've had.
I mean, can you? Well, I think the tax was $100,000 a bed. By the way, I think that's what I'm pretty sure.
Probably
that's
right.
what it was. So I got to pay $100,000 to the commie committee provider tax, and I get zero benefit. That's what I heard you say.
That's exactly right. Zero benefit. And legislators, whether they are blue or red, which is all artifice anyway, all these people care about are checks and votes. And what they know is 1.1 million votes in aggregate mean nothing. That's why they hew to chicken farmers which my parents are, before they hew to a physician. Physicians have no leverage. And then they don't speak with a group. Leverage the patient, now we've got a little leverage. Now if you would align closer with the consumer and help and get the consumer to forward your point and lower, and so they know that costs are lower, and then they can call their senator and blah 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 blah. But physicians don't play the game. They just stay outside the box, man. They're not even in the.
If I was running a large commercial company, I would buy what I needed. I mean, it's a calculus that you just understand.
Yes.
That you go, I need $30 million of lobbying to get this done. How much money do we need to get this law done? Well, Dutch, we need $45 million. And then these are the people that we've identified who have control in the right committees. Okay. Well, all right, deploy the $45 million.
Exactly.
Physicians go, I'm not donating $500 or $1,000. I'm not doing that.
It's one of those deals where I think it is partly the way they're educated is, this kind of with this, the shadow side of the healer is that they believe that they are above the game. In the United States of America, if you want to play the game, you got to play, much less win the game. And so I don't look at this as red or blue. I don't look at this as good or bad. It is functional or not functional. And so what do I need to max out to every single senator? What things do I need to host? And how do I'm buying influence and I'm doing it legally. And so that's really all that there is to it. And physicians just feel like they're above that. And so what we're seeing though is the end result. They have a math problem on their hands and it's not going to be solved. I mean, it doesn't end well.
I mean, you said 1.1 million. I'll make the math easy. A million docs give $4,000. That doesn't feel like a lot of money, right? So what's that? $4 billion? $4 billion changed the whole world. Like physicians instantly own everything.
Right. And, I mean, we're talking about the amount of a house note. And one of the things that you've said before, the coup petition, I really, really like, because I said it with the Baton Rouge project and I could get nowhere. Physicians have this Willy Wonka level paranoia where they will not cooperate with each other. And so let's just say I wanted to create a clinically integrated network or an MSO. We won't even say a cent. We'll just say an MSO for the sole purpose of driving down my costs so I get scale. I can't get physicians to do it. By the way, I'm not owning the MSO. This has no Heath is not trying to own an MSO. I've done that and I've made money off of that. I'm trying to show you how to do it. Right.
Okay, so over the next 6 months, what are we going to see? Give me the pessimistic side, give me the optimistic side. Like, and then how do doctors win? Because you have so many great strategies. They can't deploy all of them, but you have a bunch of them. How do they overcome this? Because there's a bunch that they genuinely want to be independent, and they really like you, and they're like, okay, I'll just do whatever he says.
Well, I think the main thing is they have got to start cooperating and get over this competition idea. I think that's ingrained in their educational program, and then they're beat over the head with it as an administrator. And we used to exploit it as hospital administrators. We wanted to exploit that fear, so we would push down on them. But they number one, they've got to get scale, drive their costs down, whatever that looks like. And they can do that cooperatively, just like you're talking about with a federation model. It's just like agriculture. It works the same way. The second thing is they need to sidle up to the consumer. So whatever that looks like, and take a little bit of risk, and it's calculated risk. But there's only 1.1 million physicians. There's 400 million people living in this market in America. There is no market problem, much as you want. But there's this fear of, well, if I leave the health system, or if I leave this employment, I'm not going to get any revenue. No, you're going to get it. Whether you want to do direct primary care or get a group, however you want it, the numbers are on your side. And math is a thing. And so the numbers are right there. My issue today is the consumer is moving forward, whether physicians are ready or not. The consumer is tired of paying 68% of their check to taxes and health. They're done with that. And so, we're ending some major system cycles. You're seeing it across the nation. You're seeing it around the world. It's not just geopolitical. Our economics are tied right into this. And people are always like, well, how are you so sure? Well, 20% of our GDP is healthcare. So if we have some kind of economic event, guess what it's going to touch? The number one thing we spend our money on. We spend more on healthcare than we do on military and Social Security. We have a major rotation event happening, and I'm just trying to help physicians not miss it. And they're on the cusp of missing it.
Yep, they're on the cusp. What advice do you have for Republicans and Democrats to get their nuts and bolts together and say, here's how you genuinely help the American people? I'm not asking for like a huge thing, but like an overview.
Yeah,
I feel like you have such great insights.
It is what I tell policymakers all the time and legislators is healthcare is a double-edged sword. And so if you approach it as a polemicist, it is going to cut your ass tomorrow. Don't do it that way. Look at this as an economic tool. And it can be a populist tool if you want to take the populist route of this. Just look at, how do I drive down costs? And it is going to drive up your poll numbers. So, and there are little tiny things, I hate to be an incrementalist, but I have to be at politics. And so what could that be? Could we reduce the 3B subsidy right away? Could we reduce provider taxes right away? We have to attack the driver of the cost, the inputs, which are coming from hospitals and health systems. That's where 49% of our healthcare dollars is spent. And so I love the little pharma dance. It's a nice, fun, little attractive thing. I like the insurance dance. That's fun. One is attacking the input of 49% of the dollar. And so we've got to do something with healthcare. And it starts with hospitals and health systems. And little tweaks like that would totally disincentivize and really eliminate the arbitrage of subsidy. And that's really what is driving our cost in the nation, is the arbitrage. We don't experience that in physician-owned hospitals. We never have. We don't get to participate in any of those reindeer games.
That's right.
Drive down costs by making them just a little more similar. Ultimately, what I would like to do, and what I've been pitching billionaires since 2017. In 2017, I called it Prime Health. You see Amazon taking it on now. And today I'm calling it HealthX, which is we just need to platform physicians. And whoever does that, and physician-led enterprises, you win.
They win.
And you don't need to control the enterprise. You just need to platform it and migrate the consumer. And so that's the next thing. And physicians who are going to, if they don't participate in the next 12 months, they're going to miss out. And so they have a very narrow window, and the physicians who do are going to make a mint. But this rotation event is a generational event. It's happening whether we like it or not. The consumer is moving, and everybody else is going to have to catch up.
I